Mostly that he was just struck by the clashing content and tone, and that was it. He was very upset at the idea that they would
That
make
this could be a dark comedy.
that
in
this
any
would
way?
be fun.
Oh, okay.
Was the what upset him, that it didn't take the political reality seriously, which is interesting because I do think that it sort of takes it seriously.
Yeah, I think it does.
Because like the severity of the violence is still incredibly serious, but he just thinks like in terms of tone, grindhouse quality, that like people have a lot more like whoa and yeah, like watching it like the same way that the audience watches the thing.
Right,
But, see,
I think that's the kind of the implication. Like it's
I think that's it. I think it implicates us as audience members.
Because you're watching it, and what I think what they're trying to do is present to you a film tonally that kind of expresses the way that the everyday audience member in this universe feels when they watch the death race.
Right.
It might not be like, because I could see a couple of my friends that don't think about movies all that much or the ideas that come with them watching this and just going like, his head got fucked up, and just like enjoying the race, enjoying the explosions, enjoying all that. And I do that too. The film allows you to do that. And so I could see that he's kind of like, that's gross that they let you do that. But the film is inviting you to do that. It's not just forcing you to do it. Like if you want to engage in the political thoughts that it has, then you can, and it makes it much better. But at the same time, it gives you a tonal invitation to just kind of sit there and enjoy it as well.
Right, and see, for me, I don't blame the film for that, because I also, like, there are moments where I feel queasy, like when there are moments where, like, you're watching this fun movie, and then all of a sudden there is a vicious amount of gore. Like, yes, I have the visceral reaction of probably excitement, but at the same time, I'm like, what the fuck?
You're like, god damn. Like, it shows, like, a bunch of... Like, I don't know if it expressly shows a child being killed, but I can't recall right now. But it implies it, and it obviously implies it that it's happened over and over again on this race, because it's like they say it's like 70 points for a kid or something like that, 100 for an old man, or like it's outright disgusting.
Yeah, it's
right away.
There's the baseline, just a standard man.
Yeah.
There's an extra 10 points if it's a woman,
right.
Which is just so bad. And then there's, I think it's like 40 points for a teenager, 70 for a toddler.
Yeah, that was one that I was
100
like,
for a senior.
God damn.
And there is some unbelievable jokes in this that revolve around this like point system. Like, for example, where they roll out all of the geriatric patients to get run over as like suicide day.
Yeah, and then I love how it expresses that Carradine is somehow more of a hero because he just decides to kill the nurses and doctors rather than the old people.
Yeah,
and so but the film
as like a political
kind of implies
statement
that he made a better choice, I don't know, but like that's such a complicated, muddled area,
right? Because he's killing the nurses who technically are killing the old people, is sort of the idea,
right?
But the way that they set it up as a gag, because they set it up with they roll the old people out in the middle of the road. You expect them that he's going to go and run them over and score that like 800 points or whatever it is. It's a lot of points.
Like, few hundred.
And then instead, he makes the last minute decision to turn and hit all the nurses who just rolled them all out. And everyone's like, he's turned and he's hitting the nurses. Yeah. He's getting all these points for hitting the women.
And I also love the way that he films this, because he has it so that it implies that the car goes into the lane where all the nurses and doctors are, and then it has the bushes kind of block the car from seeing them being hit, but then he just has a bunch of nurses kind of jump into like as
being
if they're
thrown
being
into the
hit
air
and thrown, and once again it adds this whole thing where it's kind of cartoonish. It's kind of comedic.
Oh, it is. That is a visual like cartoon gag.
Yeah,
something
like
you'd see on Looney
comedy.
Tunes.
Yeah, except you're watching tons of people being slaughtered by being run over by a 100-mile-an-hour car.
Vehicular massacre.
It's insane, and it does. You kind of feel two different types of ways.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. I mean, like I like laughed really, really hard, but again, that's a really perverse joke. Yeah. So the idea that like I'm just laughing at that unquestionably because it's funny, it's like no, it also makes you feel gross at the same time because you know kind of what you're watching.
It's funny. I forgot about this line. When he does that, he's one. I think it's an announcer or something, and he goes, "He's just got a red-blooded American sense of humor."
Yes, thank you for pointing that line out, because I think that I don't even think that you include that line unless you know what you're doing at this point.
Absolutely. No, not
because it's saying that this humor is perverse and it is inherent to the red-blooded American nature.
Culture.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
So the fact that, so it's implicating audience members who would like this film.
Yes, yeah.
So this is like a self-loathing kind ofly made film.
Yeah, really.
And it is interesting because from what I understand, the director, when he came onto the project, he was more interested in the satire and the political stuff. And Corman was like, you got to put the grindhouse stuff in. So it is like those two things kind of warring against each other a little bit, but in a way that actually complement each other.
Yeah, that's actually awesome that Corman did that, I think.
Yeah, because Corman is obviously doing it a little bit more cynically, but Corman himself knows the kinds of movies that he wanted to make. So that just tells you that this movie was being sold as a fun grindhouse drive-in style experience, but also about people who have the bloodlust to see that kind of stuff at the same time. So you're constantly fluctuating between them.